Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of My Thoughts Meow. So, yesterday yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay, you get the idea. Super Troopers 2. So, I know, this might not seem like the kind of movie that I would enjoy, but, it's kind of one of those guilty pleasure things where you just want to turn your brain off. And, I'm kind of super into a lot of the stoner comedies, and, Super Troopers is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen, but more importantly, I think that Super Troopers 2 is just as good, if not better than the first one, because I found it funnier than the first one. Not that the first one isn't funny, but the second one is even better. I don't think there was a point in that film where I wasn't laughing. So I saw it on 420. No, I didn't get high because I don't smoke pot. Never have, never plan on it. I don't like altering my mental state with, I make an exception for alcohol, but Anyway, so I thought the movie was extremely funny. So, I'm gonna do this in a sort of, weird way. I'm kinda gonna focus on it. So I'm gonna start with, the story, and then I'm going to talk about what I think of, the comedy, and then I'm going to talk about what I think of it as a sequel to the first one. The story was weak, I admit. It was a flimsy justification to bring them all back. It was a flimsy justification to have them doing all the Canada stuff. But it was, I think all the characters and I think all the actors put in great performances. I don't think anyone in this movie phoned it in, because it was crowdfunded, so obviously they wanted to make the movie. It was just there wasn't a studio that was gonna foot the bill. So they had fun. I could tell. All of the actors are great. I think the one actor who I'm shocked was in the first one is Brian Cox, and he is hysterical as Captain O'Hagan. I think Captain O'Hagan is probably my favorite character in general. Although I do like Ramathorn, so it's a tie between them. And so, like I said, the story was weak. Obviously, spoilers ahead if you're planning on seeing the movie. Basic premise of the movie is that a small Canadian town is about to become part of the United States because it turns out the border was further into Canada than initially thought. So, the governor of Vermont, Linda Carter, who played her in the first movie, calls back together Captain O'Hagan and his team, including Rabbit, Ramathorn, Farva, and everyone, and they all, get together to be the Vermont Highway Patrol again. Because at the end of the first movie, they became local cops, and in between the first movie and the second movie, at some point, they got, fired for some undisclosed incident involving Fred Savage, which the payoff to that is one of the funniest bits of the entire movie. I will be completely honest. And, like the first movie, the payoff to the undisclosed incident is in the credits. So if you were gonna watch it, make sure you stay for at least some of the credits so you don't miss it. Like I said, they get called back together, and I think that there's a lot of good comedy in the movie. It is hysterical from, the first 10 minutes of the movie, is, an extended dream sequence, which is hysterical. And then, from the moment everyone comes on screen for the first time, it's yup, 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 yup. They're all back, they're all funny. Especially, Kevin Heffernan as, Farva, cause, he is hilarious in pretty much everything I've seen him in, which is Super Troopers, Super Troopers 2, and Sky High, because he was, the bus driver. He was Ron Wilson, bus driver. And I didn't realize that when I saw Super Troopers the first time. I only realized it a few weeks ago. Or last week when I wanted to look up what they all look like without the mustaches. So I looked up and I was like, oh shit, that's Ron Wilson, bus driver, from Sky High. And I refer to him as Ron Wilson, bus driver, because, so like I said, the comedy was great. There were a few things that I thought could have been done without. There was like an extended running gag that Ramathorn was using a Canadian female Viagra, and the joke is that it's putting female hormones in him, and it was kind of misogynist and kind of sexist in the way that the female symptoms were being presented, but overall, the rest of the movie was really funny, and it kind of outweighed that for me, that I was still able to enjoy it, regardless of that. So, like I said, the comedy was good. I mean, there is so much great comedy, and you would think, I thought when I saw the trailer for the movie, I was like, they put all the funny jokes in the trailer, and I'm not gonna laugh at all. They only put half the funny jokes in the trailer, and the rest of the movie has hilarious jokes. I don't even think you see in the trailer that one of the Canadian Mounties, who's like a sort of pseudo-antagonist for them, and then you have the full antagonist who is the one doing all the criminal activity that they have to solve the case, like in the first movie. But in that part, one of the Mounties that I don't think you see is played by Will Sasso, who is a hilarious actor. I mean, Mad TV, Three Stooges, his vines with the lemons. I mean, Will Sasso is hilarious, and he is a very funny actor. So, and there's a lot of good jokes. A lot of the Canadian jokes are kind of ones I've heard before, but I still got a kick out of them. In the yeah, I'm just trying to think that I'm trying to make sure that I'm remembering everything that I wanted to say in the video. I definitely think that the comedy was like, they were on fire the whole time. Like, I don't think there was a single joke in that movie that didn't hit, at least for me. Like, I laughed at every joke, and the theater I was in, people laughed at every joke. And, the comedy, I think, was kind of funnier than the one in the first one, because they had the advantage that they could also make callbacks to the first movie. And then there's the Canadian jokes that even I found really funny. Even though a lot of them were ones I had kind of heard before. There's a funny extended sequence where Will Sasso is talking to the other two Mounties, and he's pretending to not know that Danny DeVito in Taxi is the same Danny DeVito in It's Always Sunny. And so there's like a back and forth where the other Canadian is like, it's the same Danny DeVito, and it is hysterical, that scene. I mean, and then, like I said, in the trailer, you think they put all the funny jokes in. That, like, stuff where they're dressed as the Mounties, that is the funniest sequence in the movie, hands down. And there is a lot of funny in the movie. Like I said, I think all the Broken Lizard guys were on fire. Brian Cox was hilarious. The love interest for Rabbit, in the first movie Foster had Ursula, and in this movie Rabbit has Genevieve, and she's played by the love interest from You Don't Mess with the Zohan, and she's hysterical. Rob Lowe is the mayor of the Canadian town that they're sort of integrating into America, and he is hysterical. I mean, like, everyone in this movie is hilarious, and it is by far, I mean, it's the first movie I saw in theaters in 2018, but like, it is by far one of the funniest movies I've seen this year. So I think so I went over the comedy, I went over the story. I think in general, as a sequel to the first one, this is a really good sequel, because you get callbacks to the first movie. You got back most of the principal, secondary characters. You have Ursula shows up for a little bit. Her and Foster are still together. Linda Carter as the governor is back. I think the only person from the first movie who didn't make a reappearance was the head local cop. One, because he's probably still in jail, and two, because the actor passed away in between then and now. But I think, like, they do great with the callbacks. There's the scene in the trailer where they're in the restaurant, and the name of that restaurant is gonna make a lot of people laugh if they remember the first movie. They're in the restaurant, and there's the liter of cola, which was the big joke in the fast food place. And just overall, as a sequel, there's a lot of callbacks, but you know me with callbacks. Like, you don't want to make me watch the first movie with them. And none of those callbacks made me want to watch the first movie. It just made this movie even more hilarious. And I thought it was just hysterical. It was hysterically funny. And really, I don't want to give more away than I already have, because I really do want to encourage you to go out and watch it. Is it stupid? Yes. Is some of the comedy offensive? Yes. But, you know, as something to go turn your brain off for an hour and 40 minutes and just enjoy something and laugh, I think it is very effective in doing that. And I definitely think that it's not like, this is not height of the art form movie. This is not supposed to, like, inspire you to be a better filmmaker or to, you know, do stuff. But this movie is hysterical, and I think that if you don't at least watch it on demand or Netflix, or Amazon, wherever it ends up on streaming, like, you are missing out, because it is one of the funniest movies I think I've ever seen, and I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that, because I absolutely love the movie. So I think that about does it for my thoughts on the movie. Story, weak premise, just an excuse to get everyone back in uniform. All the actors look like they're having fun, and they're all on fire, even the new ones. And the comedy is top-notch comedy. It has a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, but honestly, 45, 50. I think it at least deserves a 45 or a 50. So those were my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video. Go check out Super Troopers 2. Hashtag not sponsored, but it's a funny movie, and you should totally go see it if you want to kill an hour and 40 minutes and you want to just laugh non-stop. So I'll see you next time. Thank you all for watching, and if you liked the video, you can hit subscribe and watch one of my other videos. My videos can be found on any of these fine sites, and if you want to help out, maybe consider supporting the show on Patreon. See you next time.